Welcome to Pot of Thunder, the recognized symbol of excellence in rock and roll podcasting, brought to you by Blue Microphones. If they're good enough for Pot of Thunder, they're good enough for whatever horse shit you're trying to do. And guess who it is?
Here's my buddy Andy.
That's right, it's your buddy Andy, America's little brother, as always, joined by the one, the only...
Bam! Bam!
Gnarly Nick, the garlic
don't
dragon.
make a
He's
fuss.
in the house.
Oh, yeah.
That's him. Everybody's excited. There he is. There's a bag. We'll get to that later. Actually, there's a bag over there, and there's a bag over there. There are two bags today, so something to look forward to. Big tease, so you don't turn it off. Bags in the house. Exciting. And, Nick, when you came in, did you get on the ladder? Did you check the roof? I hope the roof's on tight.
There was no ladder, but I shimmied.
You shimmied up the gutter. You looked. It looked tight. We're safe because you want them. We got them.
I think we need a gunslinger, somebody tough to tame this town. I think we need a gunslinger, there'll be justice all around.
Succumb to my power, my age, and my weight, all of which are considerable.
Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the breakout star of the podcast medium. That is Chris L. He's in the house. We are all here. We are together on this wonderful December evening. What's today? December 7th?
Yep.
That's right.
Oh, that's right. Pearl Harbor Day.
That's right. Yeah. Holy cow. I don't know.
Well,
never forget.
Never forget. I have no stories about it, but... yeah, never forget Pearl Harbor Day, and yesterday was St. Nicholas Day, which every year has been a tradition on the Pot of Thunder here. And this year will be no exception, so we'll get into that a little later. Also, I see no foil today, which concerns me, but I do see a baggie.
there's a baggie.
So wait. St. Nicholas Day is December 6th?
That's correct. Yep.
Do you think the Japanese postponed the bombing of Pearl Harbor out of respect for St. Nicholas Day?
Well, if they did...
I'd like to think so. I mean, there's got to be some common decency involved.
Something.
If they did, a little tip of the hat to them for that.
Absolutely.
A little tip of the hat.
I mean, you just
Good
can't,
on you, Japan.
You just can't ruin a country's St. Nick Day by bombing one of their territories.
What day of the week it was? What if it was a Sunday? They
I don't
took
know.
that day off.
We'll have to dig into that later, but I want to know what's in the bag.
We certainly will.
We might not even do a song today. We might just figure out the...
Dust off the look it up clip.
Yeah. What do we got over there, Nick? I see no foil, but I do see a bag. Is that a holiday printed baggie, or is this just a plain baggie?
It's a plain baggie.
I'm concerned for two reasons now. Okay.
Because it's not a holiday
It's not
baggie.
a holiday baggie. I see
You
no
know what?
snowflakes or
I have
snowmen.
holiday baggies, too. Next week,
okay.
holiday baggies.
All right. Well, it still might taste good, but that does add flavor. So, what do you got, Nick?
It's more of a morale boost, if anything. But
We'll take that, too. We need
Okay.
it.
We need it. So, what do we got, Nick?
We got some dark chocolate gingerbread cookies with an icing, like a star, kind of a dark chocolate chunks in a star configuration with an icing on top.
I was just about to say there's some chunkage on top of these cookies.
I never saw Chris move that quickly. When you said gingerbread, his head snapped around to get a good look at that. Yeah.
I had gotten a glimpse of them, but I wasn't sure. But the chunkage definitely leaped out of the bag at me.
Are chocolate chunks?
That's what she said.
I know.
Are chocolate chunks merely a novelty, or are they more attractive? Do you guys
Than a
feel
chip?
if you see a chunk in a cookie, you're like, oh yeah, something special?
I don't think it makes a difference to me. I think it just depends on what the item is, because even sometimes the smaller chips are exciting.
The mini ones.
If there's a whole bunch of
the
minis.
mini ones are great.
Yeah. So it
Can't
could
go wrong.
Really, you can't go wrong with anything. It's just variety is the spice of life, and that applies to chocolate chip and chunks as well.
There are several spices in these cookies.
Well, and I also think that chunks in general are square shaped, possibly cube shaped. If it's on a round cookie, there's an interesting visual juxtaposition there.
That's true.
That's my
There's a
perspective
dichotomy
on it.
happening.
All right. I'll go along with that. Well, I'm excited. So, may I?
Absolutely.
Without any further ado?
Absolutely.
It's time. Give me the big one.
Have the big one.
Oh, hell yeah.
Now, I had one earlier, and it was an interesting taste experience.
How so? Good, bad?
No, good, but one thing and then another. It was not like the combination was intertwined necessarily. It was linear with respect to time and space.
Wow. Who knew?
Did not overlap. It was like, okay, I'm tasting this. Oh, wait a minute. Now I'm tasting this.
All right.
This is nicely executed from a visual standpoint.
Way to go, Nick.
Well,
Nick takes care of us.
it's a belated Christmas birthday cookie. So
Yeah, that occurred to me after the recording. There was no baked treat on my birthday week episode.
You know what I brought last week, but we didn't get around to it. I brought my a bottle of my acid reducer pills. And a little workout. What do they call those? You're telling me that! The workout bands, that have resistance.
Resistance bands.
Resistance bands, yeah. Yeah, I brought one of those. I had them in a bag here, but we just never got to that. I was just going to say, hey, Thanksgiving was yesterday as of the recording. Here's acid reflux pills.
I get it.
That would have worked.
Didn't work. Well, it didn't happen.
Would have been necessary, but...
we didn't need it. It was so action-packed last week.
It was. It was a strange episode because for whatever reason in the moment, you ever experience that where we do a show and you think like, I don't know about that one, and then you either hear some of it later or you think about it, or you get feedback from people and you're like, oh, I guess I was wrong. Maybe I just felt mentally weird that day.
It happens. Yeah.
I had the exact same reaction.
Oh, you did?
I was like, it wasn't that great, but then people were loving it, so
I don't know what was going on with us.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, Nick loved it.
I did.
So there you go. Speaking of Nick, it's your turn to pick a song from the, what is it called? Listener submission list. I'm pulling it up now. There are over 3,000 songs now.
Goodness me.
3,000.
Do a Bernie Mac themed episode now.
I saw that movie in the theater. Mr. 3000. All right, well.
Bernie Mac tribute.
All right.
Praise be his name.
Yeah, gone too soon. Let's pull this one for Bernie.
Stand by. Let's go over to the Bozo Pewter.
We've got 1414.
Bernie Mac, by the way, sadly is no longer gulping oxygen. It's a tragedy.
Yeah, he's not. All right, so we got number 1414.
I'm afraid not.
Okay. That was quick.
There was no thought required.
All right, another pull. Very bottom here, 2942.
We were at the bottom with that last bit. What are the comment? What's the comment that the listener put here?
Okay, I like when the comment factors into the decision making, and he's
but let's do it.
He's selecting it.
The comment did it.
The comment did it. Swayed you.
I was curious because I don't know this song. At least I don't think.
You know the artist?
Everybody's heard of the artist, but I don't know this song. The comment did push it over the fence. So
it's exciting. All right.
Did not expect this band to come up right now.
Now, before we move any further, I had to look this up just because I'm curious. And like I said at the opening, I'm now of a considerable age. When I was 53, I wasn't, but I'm 54, so now I'm much more considerably older. Bernie Mac died at the age of 50.
Yeah.
4 years younger than me, and the same age as Jericho. Getting into some dicey territory here, man.
Yeah.
Every episode's a gift.
Pretty much.
At this point.
Just found out another guy from my high school graduating class kicked it unexpectedly
Really?
the day after my birthday.
My God.
Yeah, strange period of life going on. But also, he is his resting place is Washington Memory Gardens in Homewood, Illinois. Did you
really?
know that?
I did not. That's where Jermaine Stewart is buried.
Why am I blanking?
I think in the distance.
We don't have to take our clothes off to have a good
Oh,
time.
right.
I think in the distance I heard Officer Rich laughing out there. So that's what made me laugh.
Is he really?
Yeah, he is.
We don't have to take our clothes off, guy?
Yeah.
We should go over there.
We talked about
Well,
it.
he used to go to the hospital that our aunt worked at.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
When he was ill, or like for other reasons?
Like
to visit?
or
Like
to visit and
entertain people?
And I think like he had some sort. It wasn't what ended up like when he passed away.
Wait, are we talking about Bernie or Jermaine?
Bernie.
Oh, okay. I was thinking Jermaine. Okay.
No, I just remember hearing that
he'd pop in over there.
that he would. Yeah, that if he needed something, that was.
We can be there in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, it'll be like visiting Arlington National Cemetery. You look for the famous graves
There's two.
throughout it.
At least two.
Then we could hit the Chick-fil-A.
There you go.
So he's buried in Homewood.
Krispy Kreme.
Yeah, that's what it says on Wikipedia. Also on Wikipedia, he is laid to rest right next to the plot of Bob Nip. So, so I'm not sure what we should trust on Wikipedia. Right. You never know whose Wikipedia page has been trolled by some of our listeners.
Very good example.
Yeah. Full of lies.
No disrespect to Bob Nip, of course. Mm-mm. Never.
All right.
I'm glad Andy's moving it along.
Yeah. Somebody has to.
Before we dwell on that.
Especially given the day that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Dum, dum, dum. All right. Did you catch the name of the album, Nick? You want me to do it?
I don't know. I don't remember the song or the album.
All right. 2 weeks in a row.
Nobody will believe this, but completely unintentional.
Oh, we're terrible.
Absolutely unintentional. Please don't cancel me for that.
I like that we're getting more terrible the farther into the show that we get. You'd think it would go the other way. Okay. All right. It's time to turn the microphone over to our friend, Chris Jericho.
All right, Harold. This one's called
Heard It on the X
off of
Fandango
by the band
ZZ Top.
Ow!
Good call. You've not heard this song? You're not familiar with this one?
I don't know it by the title. I may have heard it. It might be one of those deals, but I can't say that anything's come into mind. So, But I like the description that the who submitted this?
Paul McDonald.
And he says...
a Texas barn burner never fails to make me stop and listen. This is an anti-prog anthem, 2 minutes, 29 seconds long. Get in, get out.
Mm-hmm. He's
right. I like that philosophy.
Well, there we go. Paul McDonald, you may have something coming your way. Unless you live in another country, then you're out of luck.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
We'll send you one of your own McRibs in the mail.
They're back, apparently.
Yeah, they are back.
Oh, boy.
Still never had one in my life.
You're not missing anything.
No.
Plus, they're fucking tiny. It's like everything else. I want to go down that road.
So this was 1975. I'm just looking it up right now.
Now, yeah, people are surprised by this. In fact, I'm somewhat surprised myself, but ZZ Top is in the top 3 bands that I own the most material of. The 3 bands are Thin Lizzy, Motorhead, and ZZ Top.
Wow.
And that's kind of funny because the only ZZ Top CD that I own was based off of a recommendation which was in a interview with Lemmy before he passed. They were talking about it was something along the lines of, have you put out an album that you're just like, yeah, that was 100%, like nailed it. He's like, no, Tres Hombres would be one of those, but we haven't done that yet.
Yeah, well, if you listen to No Class, it's basically the riff of Tush, which is on this album,
right
by the
after,
way.
Which is on the back end of this album, if you will.
They straight up stole that riff for No Class, and that's one of those indications where you get the sense that it was out of reverence.
Yeah.
Though it's not anything to...
they weren't trying to be sneaky.
This is not a Vanilla Ice under pressure situation.
Trying to explain that one.
Exactly. Saying,
failing.
Claiming that you didn't do it intentionally. You had no idea what it was. And then you added an extra note so it's not stealing. Yeah, okay. But... yeah, this is the Fandango is a half live, half studio album.
I was going to say, I'm looking at the track list now, and it looks like it opens up with live stuff, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. And this tune is also on the Best of ZZ Top, which is obviously a compilation album, but I think this is the only... Well, Tush is on there. Actually, Blue Jean Blues is on there, too. There's a few from here. The best song, far and away, which is saying something, because I'm clearly a big ZZ Top fan, but Nasty Dogs and Funky Kings, fucking outstanding.
That's the best song off of any of the albums? Or
No, off
album?
This one, for sure. But that's a top shelf ZZ Top song. This one's good, though.
Okay.
And it looks like the 2 songs before this one, I've never seen this word before.
Balinese.
Yeah, at first I thought it was a Chris Tucker thing. I'm blacking this, but never mind. Yep, we're getting more terrible.
Yep, we are.
But anyway, unless when I hear it, it could be like LaGrange, where I never knew the name of the song until I had the album. Like, I don't know the name of that song, but when you hear it, it's like, oh yeah,
everybody knows it.
So this one, I don't know if I'm going to have a similar experience, but I don't know. I'm feeling good about this pick.
No, you should, and you might know it because again, it was on their first best of compilation, but we'll see. I think Nasty Dogs should have been on there instead, but. What do I know? But this is a good one. Apparently, it's written about one of those sort of. I believe it was out of Mexico. One of those like a radio station that you just pick up mysteriously from miles and miles away. In this instance, another country, and I guess they heard a lot of. Cool music that they wouldn't have heard otherwise off this station that was known as the X, which here in the region we have X Rock 103.9. But I believe that is the premise of this song.
Okay, that's a cool idea for a song.
Yeah, it's another one of those kind of storyteller songs that we talk about a lot. This would qualify.
All right. Well,
Andy, I take it you're unfamiliar.
Unfamiliar. Yep, that's right.
What is the extent of your ZZ Top knowledge? Would it be like the Eliminator, Afterburner, early MTV, the unlikely success of these guys when they stumbled upon a winning formula for the burgeoning video era?
And that's, of course, where I first became familiar with them. And when I was really young and first started watching MTV, ZZ Top was all over the place. They were like an absolute top act.
And what was your perception of them based on, first impressions?
I remember liking the music, and I remember just thinking like the visuals were kind of weird, but then a lot of videos were weird. Like this was the age of, like the Sledgehammer video and things like that, where you just kind of had some strange things. And I have a memory, an early memory of there being a video. I believe it was ZZ Top, and it was like a TV with a pair of legs coming out of it, and it was like floating in space. I might be making this up. I thought it was a ZZ Top video. Never went back to look for it.
Well, they had that weird video for TV dinners where that like alien came out of some guy's TV dinner or something.
It actually makes sense with the way the song sounds.
Yeah, and then the whole Afterburner album, the cover concept is the hot rod turned into a spaceship, and so I think they had some of those visuals in the Stages video. So you might be onto something with that. It might have actually been a ZZ Top video that you saw.
And it's kind of funny that it's a ZZ Top song in December, because I can't tell you how many years in a row I came this close to ordering Andy the ZZ keychain from the video to put on his keys.
Yeah.
Never ended up doing it. Always ended up going with something else.
It is cool.
Every year it was like, should I do it this year? No.
But I'm kind of with you. Like, as a kid, they had a lot of gimmicky things that appealed to kids, I think. Mm-hmm. So as like, I don't know, someone who was probably not even 10 at the time, there's weird looking guys with beards, the guitars that spin around with fur on them.
Right.
There's the hot rod. There's the hand signal thing they do.
Right.
And then there's the keys with the ZZ on it. Like, there's a lot of stuff where it's not just a band playing, where I feel like, I don't know, if you're a kid, that's stuff that's going to hook you in and maybe make you a fan.
Say nothing of the hot chicks.
I was just going to say
every video has
the women who go around kidnapping these hapless guys.
I know, yeah. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it's just there were things that were unique to ZZ Top where you're like, who are these guys? Like, what are they doing here?
Yeah, and having no memory. There were several artists that I remember finding out, they were big stars in the 70s. Mm-hmm. Didn't know that.
Right.
These guys were actually quite huge toward the end of the 70s. And, I had the big Texas tour where they actually had livestock on stage, like buffaloes, like wandering around on stage.
That was in the 70s? Or
wow. And, the first three albums are essential, outstanding. Tres Hombres being the third one. My favorite of the three is the second one, Rio Grande Mud. Mm-hmm. Incredible stuff. The guitar playing is outstanding. Well, the whole band is great. And in the success of the Eliminator album inspired the re-release of their first 6 albums in a thing called the ZZ Top 6-pack. It was 6 CDs, but they remastered it and like made the drums sound like the electronic drums on Eliminator, which for purists or whatever anybody was used to hearing the original mixes, it was kind of off-putting, but
This
definitely they pounced on that to capitalize on this unexpected popularity. So I guess I'm interested to hear which mix this will be. I'm hoping it's the original mix. It'll be easy to tell just by the sound of the drums.
Okay.
But no, this is a good one. I really wish it was Nasty Dogs and Funky Kings. I encourage you guys to go listen to that. That's a fucking ripping song. Probably in my, I would say definitely in my top 5 ZZ Top song. No question about it. But this is a good one. And yeah, I'm excited that we're talking about ZZ Top. Have you guys do Netflix? Any of that stuff?
Yeah.
They got that documentary out there that Sam Dunn did, the guy who did Flight 666 and history of, or the history of metal evolution.
Metal Evolution. Banger Films.
Yeah, he did the ZZ Top thing. And,
I watched some of it.
Yeah,
I didn't turn it off because it was bad. It was one of those things where like I was going to be leaving in 20 minutes, but I had nothing to do until then, so I put it on for a little bit. I was entertained by it, and I just never went back to finish it.
Yeah, there's nothing really earth-shattering in there. These guys have, like, and I think it dates back to their original manager, Bill Ham, who was very, he was almost like a Colonel Tom Parker type guy, where he was very, very strict about their image and, what they revealed in interviews and stuff like that. So the only thing that really was kind of surprising is for me, and I've heard from a lot of other, or seen similar reactions from other people, is they didn't realize how far gone Frank Beard, the drummer, was on substances, which probably explains why they went to full-on electronic drums on the Eliminator, really? Afterburner. To their credit, they kept them in the band and
I was going to say
stood by them or whatever. But in terms of like putting out albums, obviously the drums on Eliminator and Afterburner, and probably a few albums after that are 100% electronic drum machine. Mm-hmm. Which would probably prompt the Juan Cruchet reaction. It's like, you're replacing Frank Beard's drumming with a drum machine? Are you insane? And it's like, it might have been like an Ace Frehley thing where he just couldn't hack it. He couldn't perform. But, he was always there doing it live.
Yeah, I was going to say he's able to pull it off on tours, huh? They didn't replace him ever on a tour.
No, not that I know of. But yeah, that was really the kind of eye-opening thing as far as anything else. It's just kind of interesting, just their trajectory.
Yeah.
And kind of the cool footage in there is them in their present day doing like songs from their very early albums. It's really, really cool stuff. Just the 3 of them in a room. So
cool. Well, I'm going to have to go back and revisit that. But now it's time to hear this song for maybe the very first time.
You're not aware of this one by the title?
I don't think so. But again, like Nick said, ZZ Top's one of those bands where there's a good amount of songs you can hear part of and be like, oh, that's what that is? I've heard it a million times in my life.
I'm not sure how much radio play this one would have gotten, but again, I think the X factor, pun intended, is the fact that it was on a best of compilation, so you might have heard it that way.
It's not a good album cover. I'm looking at this now.
No, it's I don't know.
I like the word Fandango the way that's written, but that's not a great band photo.
No, you can.
It's kind of. They're not really. They're looking the other way.
I don't know. I mean, they're kind of. It looks less staged than the Alive cover.
Oh, I'm sure it's not.
But
staged at all.
The Alive cover is way more iconic.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. You can see all the guys. They're kind of jamming out on stage in tight quarters. And that's the other thing about them. Their stage presentation is, they've played big arenas and huge venues. And Dusty Hill and Billy Gibbons stand almost right next to each other, like right to the front of the stage. Normally, the three guys, they're spread apart in an arena situation. They're probably 2 strides away from each other, like right at the front of the stage. So, they've always done things their own way. Interesting visual take.
Yeah. All right, well, you ready, Nick?
Yes, I am.
Well, it's too bad. It's time for a commercial.
Oh, I was ready for that.
Yeah. What'd you think? Good one? Was it disrespectful given the day that it is?
Well, yeah. For our listeners in other hemispheres, it might be that way. But no, I don't know. That was just a forgettable commercial immediately.
Okay.
That's just lackluster.
Nobody buy that.
Copywriting.
Nobody buy that one. Well, let's sit out until the next one. All right, here we go.
Okay, fortunately, we have the original drum mix. When this came out on the 6-pack, again, it was like the gated reverb, the snare drum that sounds like a baseball bat hitting a cantaloupe, and just, this huge just explosion of reverb, basically, and just to capitalize on the sound that new fans were used to. Fortunately, this is not that. So you're hearing, a crisp, natural drum sound. So
where Andy stopped it, I'm not sure if this, like, as far as what the drums are doing with it, if it's like it almost is like a thrash song at first.
Kind of, yeah.
But I'm not sure. It almost sounded like it was going into a more of a groove oriented, almost Peter Criss type of drum beat. So I'm not sure if that's where it goes yet, but interested to find out.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's kind of Frank Beard, a similar drum style to Peter Criss,
Yeah.
Kind of like, that jazzy swing and busy in all the right spots, but definitely, certainly tight enough to hold the whole band together. But yeah, the whole song just starts on that snare hit with everybody else hitting the note, and then they cut right into it. But yeah, what do you guys think so far? Liking it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like I recognize this. I don't know if I heard it somewhere else, or I don't know if I heard it in that Netflix documentary. It's possible that it was in there with some kind of footage of something.
I'm pretty sure they talked about this song, like the subject matter of the song. Again,
Okay.
the radio station that they, just were tuning around on the dial, and something, they landed on something. It's like, what the fuck is this? Where is this coming from? They found out it was coming just somewhere in the bowels of Mexico, which they were in Texas, so it wasn't like ridiculously far away. But I know that, like, Detroit, the AM radio station WJR 760, it's what they used to have. The Tiger games would be on that station. People would say they could pick that up in, like, California,
really,
somehow. Really strange.
Really?
So that's like, this is the same phenomenon going on. But yeah, I'm sure I recall them sort of talking about that a little bit, so that might be where you're remembering it from.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember back in 1966? Country Jesus, hillbilly blues, that's where I learned my lick. From coast to coast and line to line to every county there. I'm talking about that outlaw X's cutting through the air.
Now, they're another band where they switch off the lead vocals. They have multiple singers in the band, which in this band, multiple means 2.
Yeah.
But it's not all Billy Gibbons doing the lead vocals. I mean, all of the MTV era hits were basically him on the lead vocals, but I would say probably a 60-40 split between him and Dusty Hill as far as the lead vocals, and then a song like this or Beer Drinkers Hellraisers, which, by the way, Motorhead covered. It's really interesting how they glommed onto ZZ Top. I always thought that was pretty cool, but that's another song where they trade off the vocals back and forth. Almost like a Shout It Out Loud style, right, Andy?
That's right.
Yeah.
Musically, the drum beat and the guitar, of course, not exact, but very reminiscent of Rats in the Cellar off of the Aerosmith Rocks album. Year after. That was 76. Pretty similar, very similar kind of groove going on musically.
And, you know, when the discussion comes around to the greatest American rock bands of all time, it's usually a toss-up between Aerosmith and ZZ Top. So there you have it.
Anywhere, y'all. Everywhere, y'all. I heard it on the X.
Now, this is another sort of like what we talked about last week with Bon Scott's vocals. There's no doubling. There's no reverb on this vocal. They got into a lot of that later with the, ultra produced Eliminator era, but this is pretty bare bones production. Yeah. And no nonsense going on here.
And like Bon Scott, it sounds just in a dry recording,
the whole thing
of Gibbons' voice, particularly Gibbons, I would say. It sounds like there's an effect. He has a voice that almost sounds doubled at times.
Oh,
like
just
there's some sort of fullness to it, even when there's no sort of effect on it.
I know what you mean. I hear it.
There's a particular presence going on.
All right, let's keep going. I'm looking at the lyrics here in case anything pops out.
Underrated drummer in the annals of rock, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that when they really re-emerged as a popular band, there was no live drumming on the on the studio recording. So I think a lot of people either dismissed him for that, or they thought he was playing the drums and it was just such a simple robotic approach to drumming that they maybe didn't give him the credit he deserves. But you listen to any of these pre-Eliminator albums, the drumming is spectacular and absolutely underrated.
And I remember a quote that stuck with me. It was just a YouTube comment someone put up. I forget, what song I was listening to, and I was checking out the comments. And somebody had said something like, I saw them play live in, I don't know if it was in the 70s. I want to say it was, though. And the YouTube commenter said something along the lines of, they were so tight, there wasn't even any air in between the three of them. that's their reputation as just a tight band.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some old Gray Whistle Test footage of them in the 70s doing their thing, and it's pretty worthwhile viewing, I would say. They were pretty smoking band, and then they took a little break, and then I think came out with DeGuayo, and then Eliminator came out with that, just the unlikely superstardom that they derived on MTV. Because again, these were not good-looking guys. These were not, you know, when you think the '80s, you don't think of these guys with the beards and the, you know, filthy outfits and stuff like that. But
not,
it's just
not Duran Duran or anything.
No,
like
absolutely
that.
not.
Yeah.
But,
So it sounds like the early '80s were a huge down period, adjustment period for a lot of bands that were popular before and who had comebacks after that period. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there are some, but I'm trying to think of a band, you know, like an Aerosmith, Kiss, whatever, who maintained the same level of popularity from the late 70s to the mid 80s. That whole period in the early 80s sounded like, you know, it was like, what are we doing? We have to regroup and figure this out.
Another band that was huge in the 70s and became huge again, but like you said, there was a lull there in the early 80s, was Heart.
Yeah.
You know, they had some pretty good stuff in the early 80s, but it was more tied to their 70s sound, and then they glommed onto the huge 80s pop sound and just had mega success with that. But yeah, just to maintain that level of popularity in the early 80s. I can't think of
I don't
one.
know that it really happened for anybody.
I think the Scorpions were another band who were big in the 70s. It became even bigger in the 80s.
Yeah.
But again, in the early 80s, wasn't really until Love at First Sting, 84, Rock You Like a Hurricane, where they really took off again.
Unless we want to say Ozzy.
Yeah.
I mean, Sabbath was winding down late 70s, but early 80s he was back up again.
Yeah, that's It would be the opposite. Is like late 70s he was in the toilet, and then he emerged from that. But that's not a bad one.
What about Queen?
Yeah. I guess so. I mean, I guess it depends.
Maybe their
where you
was,
want to say they were huge. If we're just talking the U.S., I don't know if they were huge in the early. Well, you know what though? They were on. They had every Crazy Little Thing Called Love, and was 80, I think.
The thing about Queen though is they, at least in America, they actually fell off in the mid to late 80s in terms of popularity.
Yeah, that's true. They didn't get bigger than ever.
They you know, the Hot Space debacle, which I don't agree with.
I don't remember seeing too much Queen on MTV when I was a young kid.
No, not really.
Not really.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and they you know, they didn't. To their credit, I guess they didn't really feel the need to jump on any trends like a lot of the other 70s bands did. Of course, the Live Aid performance just changed everything for them, of course, for the mid 80s. But in terms of, like, I don't know, their record sales and stuff like that, I mean, I think they had almost become a legacy band at that point. I mean, they released some really good stuff after that, but I think just people became interested in them because of the Live Aid thing, and then looked back and, you know, the whole Wayne's World thing, and you know, people weren't really, you know, this stuff that Kiss and Heart and Aerosmith were putting out in the 80s were as popular as their 70s stuff. I don't think that was the case with Queen. Even though they still, again, put out some of their signature stuff, but I guess
Van Halen had a level of consistency as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. But they didn't go as far back in the 70s as the other bands.
That's true.
But they absolutely, if anything, were continued to rise in popularity until Roth left, and even after that they stayed popular just because it was a curiosity that Hagar was joining the band, and those albums were popular. So yeah, that's a good one. It's just they didn't start as far back into the 70s as some of these other bands we were talking about.
I don't know what happened.
Very interesting. We had some sort of slide with the wah going on. It sounded like
a rare combo.
It sounded like, now I don't know the technical terms for it, but it sounded like he must have had the wah pedal all the way up during the slide part to get that sort of tone.
You mean all the way to the bass setting?
To the bass setting, yeah. Like I'm talking like up at a steeper angle.
Mm-hmm. Like an isosceles triangle.
Yeah, the morning wood urination.
Pushing it down with your heel, ultimately is what I'm saying. Yeah, that sort of tone that he was achieving.
Or
there.
he could add some neck pickup action going on, which you don't usually when somebody's playing slide, it's with the bridge pickup. But an interesting approach to it tonally, and usually you don't get the combo of slide and wah because either of them independent of each other gives you that vocal guitar sort of liquid sound, and then when you blend them together, you don't really hear that too much. So.
Yeah, this is these guys are going for it in this one. There's no sort of like really letting it breathe. It's just kind of like attack. Kind of like what was it? Paul McDonald, the listener who submitted it. Kind of like what he said.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he described it perfectly. It's in this. Could this be the elusive shuffle drum beat from Frank Beard? Maybe this is what. When somebody asks you, what is a shuffle sound? What is a shuffle beat? Listen to I Heard It on the X.
Yeah, you say Frank Beard.
But, I mean, just say it again. Incredible drumming throughout their catalog until you get to the Drum Machine albums. But all the early stuff, the drumming is incredible. The whole band is great. I mean, Billy Gibbons, masterful guitar player, slide player, as we just heard. Just incredible. One of my favorites.
There's that one, God, what was that, like the 100 greatest hard rock bands from, I don't know, I would say 2000-ish.
Like
that was on
VH1?
Countdown. That countdown show. Do you guys remember that? I'm not sure who it was. Maybe it was Vernon Reed, but it was someone talking about Billy Gibbons being Jimi Hendrix's favorite guitar player.
That was Alice Cooper, I think, who said that.
Yeah. How did that happen? Did he have...
Well,
his early band, the Moving Sidewalks, toured or opened for or toured with briefly with Jimi Hendrix Experience. Okay. So they had, shared bills together.
Which I know I brought this up. I don't know how it came up months and months ago, but I thought it was an interesting story, so I'll point people to it again. Right after that, it says in 1969, Frank Beard and Dusty Hill were members of the fake version of the Zombies. As the Zombies were breaking up, they'd formed some imposter band to kind of make money off the success that their singles were bringing.
I remember hearing that.
And
and there was nobody in it from the original band, or there was like
no,
one guy?
I don't think the original band even knew about it at the time. I could.
So it was
be
a
wrong.
record company thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Like we're just going to keep you on the road.
Well, yeah, you got a hot act, and they're breaking up.
Yeah,
and this is pre-internet, obviously, so you can say, "Hey, this is them."
Yeah,
and people will buy
no one
it.
would know.
Yeah,
there's no way you would know
back then.
That's interesting.
But they actually got most of ZZ Top instead, so
it's not a bad
It'd be
deal.
cool to have gone to one of those shows and then heard about it later.
Yeah.
What it was, and it's like, oh wow, but it was actually ZZ Top, so
yeah.
Lots of cool stuff going on there.
Well, and also Lemmy was a roadie for Hendrix.
That's
so
true.
Maybe he was working for Hendrix when some of these Moving Sidewalks gigs were going on, and that's when he first became familiar with Billy Gibbons, and then followed his career and became fascinated with ZZ Top. So that might be where that originates.
That would make perfect sense if that were true.
Because typically you wouldn't think that he would derive any influence from a band like this, but he absolutely did. like I said, down to stealing the Tush riff for No Class and then covering Beer Drinkers and Hellraisers. I mean, and like you said, going on record as saying Tres Hombres is a perfect album, which is I'm not going to argue with that. I think Rio Grande Mud is slightly better, but it's nitpicking at that point.
Mm. And one more thing about what Nick said, how if you get to see the fake zombies and they went on to be ZZ Top, I quickly translated it over to if you saw the fake Diesel and then you realize later he became Kane. At first you'd feel gypped and then later you'd be like, oh, that's even better.
Yeah, like I was one of the people who got to see that.
That's great. All right.
There's an example of your airtight tightness of a band. I mean, to pull off something like that is not easy to do.
No.
Most people point to things like, the stuff that like Steve Vai does is impossible for mortal human beings, which is probably an accurate statement. Mm-hmm. Something like that is equally impossible for 99.9% of the musicians on the planet.
And especially when it's something that you're pulling off as a group.
Exactly,
instead of just one person doing something. Yeah, you have to all be on the same page.
Was that the end of the song?
No.
Oh, okay.
There's more to it. A little bit.
Yeah.
Not much. But.
Yeah, it's very Aerosmithy.
Is Aerosmith very ZZ Top?
Exactly.
I know Aerosmith dates back to
about the same era. Yeah,
they're about ZZ Toppy.
Yeah,
I think they have that on the menu at Fazoli's.
The endless ZZ Toppy.
But again, there's parallels there, and that's why that is the argument. The greatest American rock band. It's either half the people will say Aerosmith, the other half will say ZZ Top.
I mean, musically, I'm getting like a huge crossover between the two. What's the chicken? What's the egg? I don't know. I'd have to go in the backyard over here and find out. But
but the thing about it is that like you would expect like this bluesier sound to come out of a band from Texas versus Boston. So I don't know. Aerosmith's approach to it is definitely I think a little more unique, and they're more sort of derivative of the Stones in terms of the same composition of the band and stuff like that. But sonically, there's absolutely very clear similarities there. It's just they don't. This is more the power trio, obviously, versus the 5-piece Stones configuration. But they're all channeling the blues, so to speak. As much as I love to talk about that, but it's a fact. I mean, I mean, these guys wear it more on their sleeve. Same with Aerosmith, than like a lot of the other bands that get lumped into that heading, which most classic rock bands do. But
it ultimately, from overwhelming percentage of stuff I've heard, which is not that much, admittedly, but I mean, ZZ Top is a blues band, I would say, for the most part, just like Motorhead was a rock and roll band. Mm-hmm. But it went a little bit beyond the typical confines of what you would think when you hear those terms.
They're definitely rooted in it. There's no question about it. So, but like you said, they took it in a different direction and just had a little more aggression in their approach to it, and just something that I would encourage you guys to dig back into their old stuff and first 3 albums especially, and really absorb those and see what you think. It's worth it.
That was cool. Cool little arrangement piece.
I was just going to say, just that the arrangement of it with that sort of like that passage we had leading up to that, where they just showed off the tightness of the band and a little bit of their chops as a unit, and then they just
and it was like it's over, and then it's like, no, it started again. Oh, but it's over again.
Yeah, one of those the false endings that we love.
I'm kind of detecting a bit of a wink from the stage. Like, yeah, we did that on purpose just to kind of be funny.
I could see that. I could also see it being something that they did live and then maybe led into another song.
Yeah,
like they just let that part extend for a little bit.
Yeah, and that
put your hands up, let me hear you, Chicago, whatever.
Are you sexy, baby girls?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see.
It all comes back. I'm sorry.
If this was a staple of their live set at any point in the career, or how often this one got played live. I mean, it had to have been, I don't know. Sometimes it's weird. When you look at a best of album and you're like, why is that on there and not this other song? Mm-hmm. Like, for example, We Sold Our Soul for Rock and Roll, Black Sabbath. Mm-hmm. The only song from Sabotage on there is Am I Going Insane, parentheses, radio. It's like...
Was this on the radio?
It's not a bad song, but it's definitely not...
It's a sore thumb on that collection.
It is. Yeah. And it's also, like... It's a sore thumb on the collection, and then you're like, okay, this is the only song from Sabotage. The rest of that album must be shit, because this is the best, whereas the rest of that is just face-melting, brain-melting rock. It's my favorite of their original 6. But the other funny one is... Andy's favorite, Bad Company. Their best of compilation that came out was called 10 from 6. Mm-hmm. Okay, 10 songs from their first 6 albums. Same with Kiss. Just seems like bands' first 6 albums are the ones that are iconic. Mm-hmm. So the album's called 10 from 6, right? One album doesn't have any songs on the collection, so there's like it's not 6, it's 5. One album is completely ignored in their greatest hits collection or best of. So you wonder who makes those decisions. Is it the band? Probably not. Probably not in most cases, but
maybe they came up with the name.
It's possible,
and then the song list got whittled down.
And as as we know, live albums and best of albums are fulfill the contractual obligation, so we can get out from under this contract where we're not making jack shit and get to the next one where we can actually start seeing some earnings here.
Yeah,
but yeah, like I said, I would have. This is a good song, but I would have picked Nasty Dogs over this 10 times out of 10. That song fucking rules.
All right. Well, Nick, you chose this song off of the list. Sweet Surrender or Kick in the Crotch?
Pretty Sweet Surrender.
Ooh. It's Sweet Surrender! Hell yes!
I thought it was a cool song. I thought it was tight, yet there was like a raw sort of a dirtiness to it. Mm-hmm. Kind of another Aerosmith comparison. Aerosmith probably a bit dirtier in their sound overall.
You think so, huh? I would encourage, again, I will encourage you to listen, especially to albums 1 and 2 from ZZ Top. There's plenty of dirt there.
Okay.
In fact, my wife, whenever ZZ Top comes on, she just echoes what I've always said about it, just that dirty guitar sound.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I would encourage you to explore their earlier catalog, and you might, you might see a little more equity there. But you're not wrong, obviously. I mean, one of the things that people love about Aerosmith is just that dirty, dangerous quality to it.
They're a looser band, you know. I guess that's where the whole danger element comes in. Like I think Chris had mentioned this. I forget which episode, but it sounds like it might fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
And Aerosmith had that, whereas I think ZZ Top is more regarded for these three guys are locked in.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So there's that big difference. Yeah. But I really like this one. Sonically, it works, but I'd be curious to hear it with like I don't know what I would think of the drums, but just like with the reverb and everything sounding a little bigger and with some effects, I'd be curious to hear what that does to this particular song.
I'll bet that's on YouTube. Let me see if I can find it.
But yeah, cool song. I didn't really follow the lyrics that closely. I was really just listening to the instruments for the most part. These guys are great vocalists, so there's that too.
Yeah.
And I don't know really what else I can add, so I'll just send it over to Andy. How about that? We'll go to the dark horse.
Well, I too will give it a Sweet Surrender.
It's Sweet Surrender. Hell yes.
And I'm thinking, out of all the songs we've talked about on this show that I'd never heard or maybe partially heard a chunk of, this is probably my favorite.
Okay.
Instantly love this song.
All right.
Really?
Yeah.
Loved it.
It's great.
Huh?
Yeah. Excellent song.
Yeah.
I feel like this is almost this is like something Nick and I would have wanted to learn when we were significantly younger together. Like teenage years. Like this is the kind of thing like, oh, it'd be cool to play that together. But
yeah, especially it's also attractive because it's a power trio,
right.
3-piece kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But that's what I was thinking of when I was listening to it. Like, oh, it'd be fun to play this. So, Chris,
Sweet Surrender for me.
Oh, okay. I was on the other one. I wasn't sure.
It's Sweet Surrender. Hell yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's on the best of collection. You can't go wrong with anything from the first 6 albums, in my opinion. So, encapsulates the band quite well. It's really good. Love it.
All right, and I found it. If you want to hear, just
did you
quickly.
Find the 6-pack mix?
Yes, sir. If you guys want to hear it real quick.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Let's turn it up. Here we go. Maybe. Internet.
Do you remember back in 1966? Country Jesus, he'll be the blues. That's where I learned my.
Yeah, it's not as
it's not a
drastic a difference, which leads me to believe that maybe they pulled those original mixes just because I don't know. It's definitely the stuff from Tres Hombres and Rio Grande Mud are way different sounding.
Okay.
So, just wondering. I found one on YouTube, so maybe maybe that's different. I don't know, because it was so controversial when those came out that a lot of the old fans rejected it. So I don't know. Maybe they're playing some games.
And now those same people are probably they either have that in their collection or they want to get it for completist reasons.
It's possible.
It's enough time has elapsed where it's like, okay, it's a legitimate part of the band's history. I got to have it in my collection, even though I hated it at the time.
Yeah.
6-pack original mixes.
Let me send the link to Andy. See if he can punch that up. See what it sounds like.
All right.
I mean, I could be completely full of shit as well, but no, I think if you look it up on the internet, the controversy was real. There's a whole playlist. I don't know if I got the exact video up there, but it's in that playlist. Scroll down.
Let's see.
Oh, great, an ad.
Oh, LinkedIn, you're full of shit.
Yeah, LinkedIn is a cesspool.
LinkedIn is absolute garbage. They do nothing for you. What is this? Okay. All right. Here we go. Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, not a whole lot different.
Not a whole lot different. There's huge differences in some of the other stuff, but then again, I might be full of shit. I might have been just severely intoxicated every time I heard it, but no, I mean, if you Google it, you'll read about the controversy of the drum mix to capitalize on the Eliminator success. But
probably good business though.
Well, yeah,
good business move.
They were not. They were not. I mean, they did quite well in the '70s, but I mean, they were certainly not opposed to being successful again in the '80s. I'm sure.
And they had one of the coolest cameo appearances in a movie. Back to the Future 3, back in the Old West.
Oh yeah,
who's the band playing at like the whatever gathering, that dance they were at? It's ZZ Top.
That's perfect for them.
Back in 18 whatever.
Yeah, 1885. Probably.
Oh yeah, it would have been 1885. That's
yeah,
right. It's been a while.
Come on, Nick. People listening are yelling at their phones.
Oh, they just started.
Finally, they were content until that moment.
It was a perfectly satisfying experience up until
they were twiddling their thumbs, going, that's right, you guys got it.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Hammond, I got a question for you.
And for listeners who don't notice, this is the updated version of the drum sound here to capitalize on whatever Peter Criss did after Kiss that he was known for. They got the same engineers from the Donahue show to come in and remix it.
Yeah. Peter Criss had his hands broken by his bookie, so they had to get a drum machine.
You don't hear much bookie talk, you know.
No.
There had to be some bookie controversy in Kiss, most likely. A lot of rock bands. There had to be, yeah.
It just seems like something he would have been into.
Yeah, but that's not anything you really hear about.
Never heard it.
You hear about drug dealers, you hear about groupies, you never hear about trouble with bookies.
Yeah.
I suspect there's a whole lot of that in rock and roll history.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got money to burn. They're kind of wild anyway, living on the edge. Get a high from it.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was happening. All right. Paul Stanley needs to know if Heard It on the X is a rock and roll boner classic as voted by the, not one, not two, but three rock and roll boners in this room. It has to be unanimous. 2 out of 3.
Before we get into it, though, I just looked up on Wikipedia. There are no Bob Knipp references in this bit about the 6-pack, but The 6-pack is a box set released in 1987 by the American blues rock band ZZ Top. The compilation consisted of the first 5 albums by the band, digitally remixed to add newly recorded contemporary-sounding drum machine and rhythm tracks, digital reverb and distortion, and the original mix of the band's 7th album, El Loco. The remixing gave these releases a sound similar to Eliminator. The resulting remixes were also reissued on the standalone compact disc releases of the albums. The remixing was criticized as being a disaster. Until 2006, these remixes were the only versions of these albums available.
Oh, wow.
Available digitally, obviously. If you could find the old vinyl, you'd be able to get them. But
so you said it was the first 5 albums and the 7th. What was wrong with the 6th?
It was what, DeGuelo, I guess? I'm having bringing back up Queen, I'm having a little disconnect on the order. It was only recently when I realized that jazz came after News of the World. I was surprised to learn that. But, what, are you looking that up? I'm going to look that up. I guess they left DeGuelo off.
What's up with that?
What does
Because that was
DeGuelo mean?
I don't know.
There we go. Hold on.
Yeah, DeGuelo was their 6th album, and it was left off, which I know was their first album for Warner Brothers. Then El Loco came out on Warner Brothers, so why wouldn't they? Couldn't have been a label thing. That's interesting. I did not know that. Yeah.
Oh boy, that's a El Deguelo. Deguelo is a Spanish noun from the verb degolar to describe the action of throat cutting. More figuratively, it means give no quarter. That is brutal.
It is.
All right.
You think that would be an album that they would want to put back out there?
Well, I mean, it's still readily available. It's just
They just didn't
wasn't
go
in the
back and do that.
6-pack
No.
for whatever reason.
You know, it's strange. I don't know why. No, it must be here. Just out of order. First, Apple Music
Makes me
dicking around.
Makes me think of the 3 guys in this band hanging out watching spaghetti westerns together.
Is Trace Hombres a compilation?
No.
See, it's not in the list of regular albums. It's in the compilations
Okay,
list.
that's
Yeah.
bullshit. Apple Music.
Bastards. Anyway. I was going to say, I think it's strange that it's not available on Apple Music, but it is. It's just in the compilations for some reason. Different category. All right. Oh, so much voting to do.
My vote's in.
Nick?
Yeah, I think mine's in.
Andy?
Mine is in. How about Andy, Chris, Nick?
All right.
All right. Good.
That's not what we say anymore.
Rock.
No boner for me.
Oh.
It's a humiliating kick
it's
in
not.
the crotch!
Even on the best of ZZ Top, this is my least favorite song on that compilation. Which, again, it's good, but everything else is better than it. And then when you what we talked about earlier, when you're looking at songs to pull from Fandango, obviously you go with Tush, obviously you go with Blue Jean Blues, but when you're picking a third, I would have done Nasty Dogs and Funky Kings without even a second thought to Heard It on the X. So for that reason, I'm not going to inflate it to a rock and roll boner. But it's good. I mean, obviously it's really good. But just I have some prejudices against it, so to speak.
Okay.
So, what would you have voted? You don't have to reveal it. It's like a poker game. You don't have to show your hand.
I don't know. I was kind of going back and forth right up until the last second. So
I like his love-making technique.
What happens at the last second?
Who knows?
Well,
I don't think anybody. I don't want to know personally. Actually,
it's a surprise.
Yeah,
I'm actually
proprietary maneuver.
Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised to hear that Andy quote unquote loved it.
Yeah, it's great. I added it to my library. Gonna listen to it when you guys go home.
See, like I said, it's a deep cut. It's one that I think there are other songs better than it. Certainly on this album, the studio side. And but to hear that Andy loved it, I'm pleased to hear that.
That's good.
And hopefully that inspires you guys to explore the earlier albums.
I think I will.
All sorts of good stuff on there.
I'm excited about new old discoveries or old new discoveries. Which one is it? I don't remember, but you know what I mean. That's part of the fun of this, discovering something that's new to you that has been around for a long time.
The original discovery.
There you go. All right, well, if you disagree with us, we're sorry.
That's just the fucking way it is.
Deal with it. How about a commercial? Commercials are good. I love
goodness.
Commercials because that first one was shit.
I have to go to the bathroom. That's
okay,
good.
hurry up.
Hi guys, this is Paul Anka, and you're listening to one of my favorite hangout places, Pot of Thunder. Stay tuned and don't miss it daily. They got it down and they do it my way. Anka, checking out.
Daily. He said. Don't miss it daily. If you're missing things to listen to, go back to the back catalog. Mm-hmm. Listen to it every day.
We actually do 7 episodes a week, but 6 of them are only for Paul Anka.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And 1 is for the public.
He's the only member of our Patreon
we just never
crew.
We just haven't told him that he's the only one who gets that treatment.
What are his other favorite hangout spots?
I don't know.
But
we're one of them.
One of them.
I mean, he said it. It came out of his mouth.
He wasn't told to say it.
No.
That's what he chose to say.
Who would have thought? Who would have come up with that and said, "I'm going to tell Paul Anka to say this," and expect him to say that? Nobody would.
No.
It was organic. Came out of his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Paul Anka, I would think, inspired the likes of ZZ Top and Aerosmith. So I think you could trace a lot of the greatness back to Paul Anka.
Yeah. Rock and roll pioneer.
It's hard to disagree with that. Yeah.
Diana, are you kidding me? What a great song that is. That was on a K-Tel compilation I had as a kid. I listened to that all the time.
Well, and I know I mentioned this before.
Have you ever heard Diana by Paul Anka? It's a fucking absolute classic. And you want to talk about who are we talking about? Who is James Dean being super young and stuff. Paul Anka was a teenager when he cut that track.
So.
Yeah,
the emotion coming out of that man.
I know I mentioned this before, but it's still astounding to me that Paul Anka said that. And this is a guy who wrote a song for Buddy Holly. Buddy Holly asked him, "Can you write a song for me?" Yeah, and he did.
It's insane when he said,
and that's
Pot of Thunder.
That's and he acknowledged something having to do with us in a vague way, possibly, but
and I never really thought about this until you just brought it up. But it's like, whatever these other hangout spots of Paul Anka's are, I want to, as they say on 30 Rock, I want to go to there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we should
just one. What's the next? What's one of your hangout
we should
spots?
Be privy.
Can we meet you there?
Yeah, we should be at least privy to what it is.
Yeah, open invite for us. Oh well. Hey Nick.
Oh,
what is that bag over there?
Well,
shit. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
We received another visit this year.
We must have been good.
Well, not today.
No. Were we bad today?
we were bad today.
Okay.
Go back and listen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, this one says, to Chris, Gunslinger from St. Nick.
Oh.
This
Santa's
one,
helpers. Wow.
to Nick, Garlic.
Oh.
This is
From
very good
St.
stuff.
Nick.
From
This
St.
will
Nick.
lighten up any party.
To Andy ALB.
Oh, that's me.
Coming at you.
Anyway, we're having a good time here tonight, so don't go away, because there's a lot more coming up.
Oh, Robot Paul. Another incarnation that Paul that is way better than Pandemic Paul. I think everybody can agree on that. Quite a statement from Tooge on our text string the other day, huh?
Yeah, that was something.
That was a game changer. Just a seismic comment.
Well,
and yes, I'm intentionally being teasing about it because I'm not going to repeat it.
Oh my goodness, these are my favorite socks I've ever gotten in my life.
Oh man. Can I see? What do we got? Looks like we each got some socks here.
I got curling socks.
I got Mountain Dew socks.
What did you get?
I got Macho Man Randy Savage
well.
socks with an elbow drop in motion here.
My.
You know what? This just makes me
Christmas, I love it.
Interestingly enough, I don't know if it's the case with you guys, but there's a receipt stuck into the band around one of these pairs of socks, as if I'm going to return these. That's not happening.
Not happening.
Oh yeah, there's a gift receipt there.
Yeah, nope. Don't need that. These aren't going anywhere except on my feet.
Some stripes and some argyle.
Yeah.
Some curling socks.
It's great. Curling.
Yeah,
of
where
all
do you
things.
find those?
You can get anything printed on a sock these days.
No. These Mountain Dew socks are Nike socks.
Toss those over here. I want to see those. These are nice. These are they're beautiful. Mountain Dew socks.
Well, don't open them up, asshole.
Putting them on my feet.
Andy's gonna.
It's just a Ziploc bag.
Stretch
I don't give a shit. Those are my socks.
Well, I can touch
Don't open a man's present
Andy's
before
gonna
him.
stretch him over
I
a-
hate that. I literally hate that.
Stretch them over a soup can
I
for
want
you.
to feel the texture.
You wait until I open it.
I thought you opened it and closed it.
Well,
it's
you thought
resealable.
wrong. Give me that.
Here you go.
You can't have it.
Okay, you can have it.
No, but yeah, these are quality.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, St. Nicholas, for another visit to the boys
Every
of Thunder
year.
every year.
Yeah, my sock drawer is getting to max capacity. I'm gonna have to delete some pairs.
Well, yeah. I enjoy throwing a pair of socks away. It's one of life's great joys.
I keep them as rags.
Oh, okay.
I have a whole thing full of them.
One of my greatest pleasures is throwing a pair of used socks away and replacing them with brand new ones.
Even if there are no holes in them?
No.
Of them?
I just mean if they're worn out. It's like, okay.
Now, worn out involves holes or no? Not necessarily.
Well, either holes or, you know, there's like that layer that usually at like the ball of your foot, like it starts to become almost see-through in a spot where a hole is coming.
Yeah.
Either one is, well, as soon as I spot
You don't
one,
wait for the hole to happen. You throw them out
No.
when it's becoming translucent in that area.
Once I notice they're gone, I thank them for their service
When
and
there's
send them
some
on their way.
visible wear in the foot's asshole area.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's time to go.
I've turned mine 180 degrees. So the hole's on the top at least, so I can make it through the rest of the day without walking on the hole.
I guess that makes sense.
Well, in a pinch, that's what you got to do, I think.
Yeah. All right. Well, it was sock time. Now, guess what time it is?
Sing away.
Yes, Chief.
Oh, shit, there are 2 pair in this set.
I think. Did you get the same ones I got?
Yeah, probably. It looks like it.
Yeah.
It's reminiscent of Christmas back in the day when I would get, my brother and I would get the same clothing items. I didn't, no offense to St. Nick, but I always hated that. I was like, I don't want his stuff. And I think he felt the same way.
Andy and I used to have that happen to us.
Yeah.
Why do parents think that's okay?
Well, now, and I made this joke already, but I'm going to do it again. Now it seems like my parents are buying the same outfit for Andy and Chris Jericho.
Well, that's interesting. Especially considering he's my brother.
That's true.
So,
this is good.
you better not be in the will instead of me. That's all I really care about. I want to be in his will.
You know how we got the dressing gowns, the night shirts a few years ago? I've been wearing mine lately with the hat. And
you've been wearing it with the hat.
Yeah, and my son, one of my sons, just today said, I think I want one of those for Christmas.
There you go.
Wow.
Make it happen. Get him on the nightshirt bandwagon early. It's a proper piece of attire. Everybody should have one, especially this time of year.
If you fancy yourself a gentleman, then you should have that.
It's true. And obviously the sleep hat combo is key. So, yeah. Which son? Middle son?
Oldest son.
Yeah. Get him on board.
He's becoming a man.
Good for him. Again, two things make me very happy from this episode. Andy loving, not just liking, but loving Heard It on the X.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick's firstborn
wanting a night
requesting a nightshirt. Love it.
Nice.
I told you guys I used to wear my nightshirt to my 8 o'clock class during my last term in college.
You did put pants on,
I
though,
did.
right?
I tucked them into my pants, which wasn't easy because there's a lot of fabric down there.
Yeah, that is.
But
it would get hot too.
I would roll out of bed, put on a pair of pants over them, and off to class. Because my last term in college, they redid the requirements to graduate from the journalism school, and I had to take a freshman class my last term of college as a senior.
Yeah.
And it was a winter term, 2 days a week, 8 in the morning. Our off-campus house was a good 45 minutes away.
Oof.
And because it was a freshman class, this fucking guy took attendance. And if you missed a certain amount of classes, you failed. And I'm like, I am not missing out on graduating for this shit. I forced myself to get there, but I got there in my pajamas because and there were some cold fucking mornings. Make no mistake about it. Reminiscent of our ball retracting voyages over the Chicago River to get to work at Playboy. Some of those winter mornings, Andy.
Yeah,
you can remember that. Fucking steam rising off of the Chicago River. That's how cold it was.
That was terrible.
And it was like a wind tunnel going over that bridge.
Yeah.
You could literally, the balls would retract up into the thorax cavity to keep from freezing and falling off.
And you made me wait one whole winter before you told me about the shortcut.
Well,
you had to pay your dues.
I had to pay my dues. Yeah.
I found out about that the hard way. Why shouldn't you?
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Come on.
Are they all bad yards?
I'll just pick one. Why? So many people.
Are they
two good questions and then one that's just idiotic? I'm sorry. They're fine. You can do whatever you want. I'll just pick this one. Like there's one from... I won't say it. That's a lot of reading for me. A lot of people direct questions to Chris Jericho. He's not always here.
Can we answer on his behalf?
Maybe.
All right, let's do it.
All right. All right. Here we go. This yard of questions comes to us from Greg DiPasquale.
Recognize that
Hello,
name.
Greg.
Yeah, his social media handle is True Gregadeth.
Clever.
That's great. All right, question 1. Has Jericho reviewed and gotten right with UFO's Love to Love Rock and Roll Boner certification yet?
I'm going to speculate he has not yet.
No?
He mentioned something off the cuff in one of our recent episodes with him that he was, happy to have heard that song. Is in terms of whether he's elevated to rock and roll boner status, I would also have to say that he probably hasn't. I mean, that is one that it's a kind of an epic song, so it takes a few listens to really get the full impact of it. I think it's one of those, like a great movie. You watch it over and over again. You see, hear, notice things you didn't notice the first time. It gets better. So I think that's probably the case. But my guess would be no. Not that he isn't open to the idea. I just don't think it's latched on to him to that extent yet.
To my knowledge, he's yelling at his laptop whenever Daryl from Street Heart is on the screen, which is nothing wrong with that.
No. Team Daryl.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Question 2. Rudy and Michael Schenker. Which of the two would you rather be in a band with, and why?
Ooh. I don't know. It seems like Rudy would probably be the one. Just mainly for the fact that he has maintained the same band for 55 years or whatever it is.
No kidding.
There's a stability there. And it seems Michael Schenker is kind of one of those legendary, figure, but kind of like a Clapton. Hops around a lot with different people.
Well, plus there'd be a lot more drama involved with Michael, I think, because he's had his challenges over the years.
Yeah, and I think if you just listen to what Rudy says, you're going to be fine in the band. Don't challenge him. He's in charge.
Yeah.
I guess it really comes down to assume if you're in a band with them. I guess since you're asking me and Nick, you would assume that we would be the other guitar player.
Yeah.
So do you want to play
about.
do you want to be the lead guitarist or the rhythm guitarist?
Interesting.
I would, in general, just pick Michael. Obviously, I would be more than happy to just defer all solos to him because he's one of the great rock lead guitar players of all time. And just to watch him in action from the other side of the stage would be quite the experience.
So you're telling me that you would form MLG with him? All right. Question 3. When I was 16, I was in Las Vegas at the Hard Rock Cafe during the day. They had a small concert hall attached to it, and while wandering around, I discovered that Roger Hodgson of Supertramp was playing there that night and was currently sound checking. He was on stage by himself at a keyboard in the empty venue, so I walked in and screamed, "Supertramp sucks," then ran out of the room. Have any of you had a similar experience with someone quote-unquote noteworthy? If so, who?
First of all, if that's a true story, this guy is my new hero.
I don't know why. Who knows? But I don't know why he would make that up. There's a lot of detail.
So that quickly dethrones your new hero from about 2 days ago in our group message.
Oh, that's true, yes. Well, hey.
Well, it happens. World records don't stand too long sometimes.
That's correct. Similar experience with what disrespecting someone of note? Is that kind of in general?
Yep.
I can't think of any.
I have not done that. No.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I gotta bow to this man's greatness. I mean, if that actually happened, it's like you wonder if he was he chased by security after he did that? Was he?
Did he just kind of walk back out?
Did anybody do anything? What was the reaction? There's a lot more information I'm wanting about that.
Yeah, we need to know more.
Yeah, disrespecting someone famous, like to their face or in their proximity. I don't have the cojones to do that. Really, I can't think of an example.
No, I usually try to just not say anything at all
when you're around someone like that.
Yeah, if I see someone like excuse me. So, like you see in Chicago, you see people walking around or whatever. It's like, oh, there's that famous person, but I'm not going to go chase him down or anything or yell anything at him.
Yeah.
Or, just, make cat calls at the person. Yeah, I can't think of anything.
Yeah, that's more my strategy is to just notice them, but not try to get their attention.
There you go. Well, thank you to Greg Death for his Yardo questions. And if you want to submit a Yardo questions, go to potofthunder.com, click that little widget and make it happen. You're going to love it. It's going to be great. You could add some songs to the listener submission list. You can do whatever you want on there. Buy stuff. Listen to old episodes. Stumble upon some of our YouTube nonsense from which we haven't really...
You haven't done in a while.
No, but there's some gems in there since we've been going for almost 8 years now.
Yeah, there's whenever I go on there, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
and I don't know. It probably will continue with this trend, but never got the love that it deserved.
Well, and I was just about to say that there's only so much you can expect somebody to ram their head up against a brick wall and get no, positive reinforcement back before they just are not going to produce classic videos again for fucking 30 views. It's outrageous.
Yeah, that's true.
And meanwhile, you've got, these influencers getting millions of views for doing just bullshit.
Right.
Whereas, masterpieces on our video channel, YouTube channel, getting 30 views. They've been up there for years. It's ridiculous.
30 views and about 2 likes. Yeah. Maybe 1 dislike.
1 thumbs down.
Yeah.
What happened?
I mean, I could think of a handful right now that are absolute classics. Should be in the Library of Congress.
5 Minutes Alone one is the one that leaps to mind immediately. And we jumped on that. That was timely, newsworthy at the time.
Yeah.
Got nothing.
Oh, well.
Unacceptable.
What are you going to
do? I mean, with this show, we get positive reinforcement. The listening numbers are progressively higher still, right, Andy?
Yeah.
The website views are headed in the right direction. The discussion threads on Facebook continue to get longer and more substantial.
Yeah.
Even our posts between episodes continue to get a lot of engagement. People fucking ignore the YouTube channel, and it's ridiculous. There's amazing stuff on there.
Well, I'd like to challenge anybody...
The Hello New York, Sammy Hagar? I mean, come on.
I'd like to challenge anybody listening... On social media this week, go ahead and post your favorite video from our YouTube channel.
There you go.
Let it be known. Make yourself heard.
Then she kicked me. I mean, come on.
Oh, man, I forgot about that one.
Oh, that's a great one. Some classic.
The See You Tonight. See you at 10 to midnight, I believe it's called.
That's a great one.
Absolutely, it is.
A lot of time and research spent on that.
Yeah, awesome one. That's so. I haven't watched that tonight too.
Time and research, all for nothing. It's like
absolutely
you need that positive reinforcement. Otherwise, why would you continue doing it?
And someone today on Facebook, I saw they posted that Folgers commercial with Paul Stanley.
Yeah,
got a little editing job on the YouTube channel
on ours
to that.
Yeah. Yep. Improved.
One of them that I'm most proud of that I don't even know, is it on YouTube or is it just on Instagram? The Mr. Magoo Ace Frehley, the very, very quick mashup there.
I don't know.
I don't remember that. I can't say one way or the other.
That's how many there are.
Yeah, and that's just a sampling.
Well, and the Ace Frehley fuck 'em has been flagged as adult content. All the more reason to go watch it.
Yeah.
The superimposing of his solo over
the Rocket Ride solo
over the Ghetto Boys music is Rick Rubin himself couldn't have done a better job with that. And what 30 views or something?
Yeah,
and
sure.
It's ridiculous.
Shameful.
What the hell happened? We're out of time.
Yeah.
We've been cut off. They shut off the house lights on us. So.
Christmas tree just turned off. It's 11 o'clock.
Running off at the mouth for too long. So.
All right. Well, how about that? We will be back next week with more Pot of Thunder. Thank you to St. Nicholas for the wonderful presents. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Wild hickory nuts roasting on an open fire. There's always a jackass nipping at your nose. Worthy
of the fire crackling.
Great expectation being sung by a choir. My mother is beautiful and I love Eskimos.
Sad to report.